This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wrestling Omakase. It is episode number 164, and this week I am pleased to be joined by a returning guest, Jeff from the Voices of Wrestling website. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, John.
What's up?
Not much. I've been watching a lot of wrestling the last few days, which is a welcome change of pace from the last few months where I hadn't been watching much, and have a bit of optimism going forward. So.
Oh, that's good. I thought you were pretty negative in the Slack lately, so.
That's like my gimmick at this point. I think I'm negative on everything until I'm not, and then everyone ignores that.
But yeah, so we're here to talk about New Japan DDT. That's today's topic. Got a New Japan show to review, a bunch of New Japan stuff to preview, and a DDT show to review as well. So before I get into all that, though, I do want to give a quick plug to the Wrestling Omakase Patreon. If you're not listening, of course, or if you're not subscribing, we've done a ton of stuff on there this month. We covered all the previous King of DDT shows, all the King of DDT first round, second round, and quarterfinals exclusively on the Patreon. So you can go back and listen to all 3 episodes to have all of our previous King of DDT coverage right now before you go and listen to us cover the semis and finals here. So we covered every single tournament match. We also covered the Tokyo Joshi Princess Cup, and we're going to continue to cover that on the Patreon. That will end, it looks like, on the 29th now. They had a short delay with the semifinals because of the COVID outbreak. So we're going to cover that. We're going to cover the rest of the Princess Cup, but we have the everything up to the quarterfinals of that as well available on the Patreon right now. We also have 2 episodes this month already with the 2 5 matches episodes. So if you missed the 5 matches episodes, they're up there on the Patreon right now. We just did another one this weekend with Garrett Kidney that got some great reviews from people that listened to it. So Garrett and I talked 3 different TNA matches. A fish market street fight, which was a lot of fun to break down. Also, the famous first Samoa Joe Kurt Angle match, the famous America's Most Wanted and Triple X tag team match from 2004 that, Garrett himself, a very well-known total nonstop action historian, said was the best match in TNA history. Can't really disagree with him. And we also covered a couple AJ Styles matches outside of TNA. So if you were a big TNA fan back in the day, I think you'll enjoy that episode. We did AJ and John Cena from WWE, and we did AJ Naito from 2014 in New Japan, so the first AJ Naito match. So it was a really fun 5 matches episode, and that's up right now for you to listen to. We also talked a lot about we're doing the Naito Ishii series. I lost my train of thought there for a second. The Naito Ishii series, we're covering every single Tetsuya Naito versus Tomohiro Ishii match in order. We're through 6 matches right now, so I think you'll enjoy that a lot if you like either guy. And, we're not the same thing as the Tanahashi Okada series. It's also available for you to listen to right now. We don't just cover the individual matches. We also cover, everything those wrestlers did in between. So it becomes more like an oral history of their New Japan careers. So I have a lot of fun with it. The last episode we covered, pretty much like Naito's famous Intercontinental title reign, which was a lot of fun to recount. And then we did the Naito Ishii match from the first American show, the G1
that match
special.
Was great.
Yeah, it's actually the lowest rated one I have so far.
It is,
but it's still great. It's still a really good match. It's like a 3 3/4 star
their
match.
baseline is great.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, but we still have 4 more to go, and we'll get through that soon. And the next month will be huge for us because, assuming there's no delays related to COVID, we are going to cover, all 3 tournaments that's to kick off in Japan next month: the G1 Climax, the Champion Carnival, and the N1 from Noah. I still need to see what the N1... I mean, the G1 and the Champion Carnival, they're all going to air live, and I still need to see what the N1 schedule will be like. But we're going to cover all 3 of those. I'm going to do my best to cover them all. It'll be a mix of... so basically what we'll do, I'm going to work out the schedules. We'll cover some of it here on the free show, but like the day-to-day coverage, especially like the weekday shows, we'll cover on the Patreon. So if you want to hear the entire coverage, you want to hear my thoughts on every single G1 match, every Champion Carnival match, and every N1 match from Noah, you'll want to subscribe to the Patreon for that. So it'll be a lot of content coming out in September into October. So, because we're almost at the G1 already. The G1 kicks off September 19th. Champion Carnival starts a little sooner than that, I believe. So all that stuff will be on the Patreon as well as on the free feed. So, if you want to hear all of it, you'll have to go to subscribe to the Patreon. But yeah, all that stuff, more stuff too, Anime Omakase, all the stuff we do, it's only $5 a month. I think it's a great deal. I know I'm very biased, but I think you get a lot of audio for $5 a month. So definitely check us out at patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. Get all your retro stuff and all your current stuff too. So it's a great mix. No matter what kind of Japanese wrestling coverage you're looking for, I think you'll find it on our Patreon. Okay, so that out of the way. First show we're going to talk about is the Week 3 of New Japan Strong. It aired on Friday, August 21st. Not clear when or where it was taped. Well, where we know actually. It was taped in California in the same venue that the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood uses. But this was the 3rd week of Strong. We're going to keep covering it pretty much every week, I think. As long as I'm still enjoying it, I guess, is what it comes down to. But we've been covering it so far on Omakase, so I just want people to know that we'll probably still cover it going forward, even though the New Japan Cup USA is over.
Will that be accompanying your Dynamite reviews?
No Dynamite reviews. I don't watch Dynamite, so. But yeah, this is the only wrestling show. The only weekly wrestling show produced in America that I watch is New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong.
It's a good decision.
The opener was Rocky Romero and Adrian Quest defeating Danny Limelight and the DKC. Rocky tapping out the DKC in 9:57 with a Diablo armbar. So I didn't know anything about 3 of these 4 men, so I went to Cage Match just like last week to research them. Adrian Quest is 24 years old, but somehow... he's only 24, but he's somehow been wrestling 11 years already. So he's been at this since he was 13, which I don't know. That's almost like child abuse. But anyway... Danny
Child abuse in wrestling.
Yeah, I know. Danny Limelight is 28, but he's been wrestling since 2014. And the DKC is another age unknown guy, but he's only been wrestling since 2018. The story here seems to be that Rocky is testing Limelight because he sees potential in him, but the announcers did a good job explaining the story, so that's good. And they had a fun little anything you can do, I could do better type exchange with they were trading various moves, and Limelight seemed like he was almost trying to rip Rocky off, but in a good way. And they end up with a big drop kick trading sequence. And then we got some really nice mat wrestling with the DKC and Quest. Apparently DKC had some kind of legit martial arts background, at least according to Alex Kozlov, but he looked really good in there. So, and then obviously Rocky ultimately tapped DKC out. I would go 3 1/4. I like this. It was a good opener.
I really liked this. I was flirting with. I mean, it's hard to say I was flirting with 4, but I went 3 3/4. I really enjoyed it. I don't think Rocky gets enough credit for being a really, really strong worker. I know every time the Super Juniors comes up, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Rocky's really good again," but he's always just been really. He's never been the best in the particular division, but he's always just been top notch, and I never think he gets the credit he deserves. He was really good here. I really liked Danny Limelight. I thought he showed a lot of potential, and in general, I don't know where New Japan are finding all these U.S. indie guys that look to have so much potential, because every time I look at a U.S. indie show, it looks like shit, to be honest. So I don't know where they're finding these guys, but God bless.
It is weird, right? That like so many of these guys don't get booked anywhere, and they seem to be really good. So
yeah,
like, I don't know,
really good.
So I don't know what the fuck like Beyond and all them are like. They're so busy booking. I mean, I guess what it comes down to is these promotions are so busy booking like fucking. I mean, I don't want to hate on intergender. There's been good intergender matches, but like it feels like they've gone really overboard with the intergender stuff. Mm-hmm. Especially like Beyond has gone really nuts for intergender, and then like. You gotta get them YouTube heads, right? But like, even more the intergender though, like they've gone crazy with the comedy. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And it's like all the, like you said, Danhausen and the wacky gimmicks or whatever. But it's like there are clearly good wrestlers out there. Like New Japan has found them. I mean, it's really not. Yeah. I don't know. It is very weird. But
yeah, I went 3 3/4 on this. I thought the finishing stretch was really good. I thought everyone looked really good in the ring. I didn't know how short a time DKC had been wrestling. He was actually my weak man in this. I liked the other 3 participants a lot better than I liked him. I thought it slowed down a bit when he got in the ring, but overall, that's just a minor critique. It was a great match. I really enjoyed it for what it was. It was a good opening match.
I feel like I need to, clarify what I said before, because people might take me out of context. I have nothing against intergender wrestling in certain contexts and when it works. I mean, there's a Saki Akai intergender match on the DDT show that I thought was pretty great. But, like, I don't know. It just feels like American wrestling does it as a gimmick now, Like, just like, we have nothing on this show, so let's book Chris Dickinson against Priscilla Kelly.
They don't do it as anything that's meant to be in any way meaningful. They do it because, look at here, we have intergender matches. Where are our woke points? Please ignore the fact that we were allowing sexual abuse to happen in the locker room.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's about woke points as much as it's about, like, just... I don't know. They think it makes them stand out or something, but now it's so. There's so much of it now that it doesn't stand out anymore. Like, I don't know. It just kind of, and they don't. When you have a promotion that, like, I guess, just does it as a matter of course, like Chikara used to be back in the day. I guess it's fine, but it feels like it's just like a gimmick now.
Yeah, woke points probably aren't the word for it, but it does just feel like a bit of a look at my hands, not at what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a very, distraction from how crappy the American indie scene has become.
Right.
Match number 2, Brody King and Flip Gordon defeating Chase Owens and Jay White. Brody pinning Chase Owens at 8:44 with the Gonzo Bomb. It was good to see Jay White back, but it was bad to see Flip Gordon back in New Japan ring, so they kind of even themselves out here. But yeah, White and Chase double team Flip in a somewhat boring manner for a while. The Brody comeback was pretty cool though. He's undoubtedly very good at running wild, but he tagged back out to Flip way too fast for me though. And then Brody ended up pinning Chase. This was all right. Certainly nothing all that great, nothing all that bad. I would go like 2 3/4. It was like slightly above average.
I was a little higher on this than you are, though. In the spirit of full disclosure, I really like Jay White.
I like Jay White too. He didn't do a lot here, I didn't think, but
he didn't. But I get off on the subtle shit he does. So like that's just my thing. Like I like when they cut off. I think it was Flip at the beginning of the match, and they like the way they worked the heat segment. That was really fun. I'm not as high on Flip as a lot of people are either. I think he looks better. I think he looked better here than he did last time he was in Japan.
Who's high on Flip?
Okay, fine. I was trying to give the man the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, we were trying here, but fine. Okay, no one likes Flip. I don't think that's really a secret, but I'm sure he has a fan, whether it be his family or otherwise. I am in favor of the Jay White scummy beard. I don't know where you fall on that.
Beard's fine.
Yeah, the clean shaven versus scummy beard. I like the scummy beard.
I kind of want him to go clean shaven again now, just because he's had the beard for so long. I feel like
yeah. I don't know. I really like the beard. To me, it completes him. It just makes him look like the biggest shithead in the world, and I love it. Other than that, I think Jay White's heel stuff is next level compared to US guys like MJF. I don't know. I even like MJF. I think he was a little bit better. They did go to the ref spot a little too much for my liking. I think my favorite spot in the match was when Jay White got torn to shreds and then Chase Owens just like pulls him out. Like it looked like that scene in a movie where the villain gets pulled out by his lackeys and he's having to regroup. It just looked pretty neat. I think the most interesting part of the match was at the end, though, but I did go 3 1/4. So
afterwards, yes, Hikuleo ran in. I assume that's what you're talking about, and attacks Brody. To get like the big man exchange, and he laid him out. I thought Hikuleo, he looked way. I mean, this was a 2-second long run in, so I guess you can't really tell that much. But I thought his offense looked way more crisp here than it did before he left for Excursion. So hopefully that's a good sign. I mean, I did not seen a single fucking thing of him in Rev Pro, so I don't know if he's gotten better or not, but he looked good here.
He looks about 30 pounds heavier, maybe even 40, and he looks like a spitting image of his father.
Yeah.
He looks way closer to what I expect of Haku's kids than the other two.
Well, one of them's adopted.
Ah, okay. That makes more sense.
But anyway, but yeah,
did not know that. Not gonna lie.
But yeah, so Hikuleo, I think because next week we're going to start the Road to Fighting Spirit Unleashed, which basically means I guess they're going to build to a Fighting Spirit Unleashed show as like the big show of that next taping, and I assume this will be a singles match on that show, on the next big show, Hikuleo and Brody King, which sounds good to me. I mean,
yeah, look, actually,
this fucking promotion that has like 10 people. Realistically, is somehow booked way better than anything else going on in America.
Yeah,
and it's kind of silly.
What was your Slack quote? It's the nicest guy in prison.
Well, that's true because it was Gerard said it was like the best show going on in America. But I was like, that's not. It's a very mean phrase to prisoners, but yes, that is the popular phrase that the NJPW Strong is the nicest guy in prison. But yeah, so next week we got the Road to Fighting Spirit Unleashed. I assume they're going to do a bunch of tags to build up Hikuleo versus Brody King, which I'm here for. That should be a lot of fun. The final match of the evening, this is only a 3-match show, was, unlike the other ones that have all been 4 matches, I think. The New Japan Cup USA Final, Kenta defeating David Finlay in 13:35 with the Go to Sleep. So you could see a briefcase in the background as Kenta came out, and Kevin Kelly confirmed that the winner here will get a certificate to challenge for the US title. He made the comparison similar to G1. So that will presumably be the top title of this US brand until Moxley can defend the real title at some point. Moxley did mention apparently on Observer Radio, I haven't heard the interview, but he said there is some kind of negotiation going on, and they're hoping to find a way to do the Moxley Kenta match, presumably before Moxley can actually get back to Japan, since AEW won't let him work in America. That's basically the problem.
Maybe Moxley can drop the title to Kenta in exchange for Kenny Omega to be allowed back in Japan. Old Uncle Harold.
Yeah, maybe Harold can call immigration. But yeah, I like the briefcase too because it looked almost like it looked like a DIY version of the normal G1 briefcase. Like it had a much more I don't know, it just looked very, I guess, DIY. Like I said, I don't know, I can't think of another word for it. It just didn't look as fancy as the regular briefcase, but it kind of works for the Strong brand, which is like much more gritty, I think, than the regular New Japan.
Yeah, I agree.
But yes, we got some wrist locking and grappling to start, which I always enjoy that as the start of a big match. And Kenta continually pulling on Finley's hair to get out of his side headlock was pretty great heel work from him. Kevin Kelly also mentioned during this that they have a standby match if this ended early, which is a nice touch. And again, the nicest guy in prison stuff, they really go out of their way to make everything make sense here and have a logical world to it. It's this match could end early, so we have another match. That used to be a very standard line, I think, in American studio wrestling and stuff. or you'd have like, you know, TV time remaining and all that, but like nobody bothers with that stuff anymore because it's like, well, it's fake, so
we don't have old school studio stuff. I get my rocks off on that, like the little lines like that where it makes it feel more legitimate.
Yeah.
That stuff I really enjoy, and I cannot stress enough how much I've enjoyed Strong so far.
The whole thing with like just the commentary in general, English and Japanese, they really go out of their way to make, to make everything make sense. I mean, Shingo Takagi, after Sengoku Lord, like, explicitly kept saying on commentary, like, you know, Hiromu told us not to come out, to explain, you know, no matter what, do not come out, to explain why they didn't come out to save him. It's like they really go out of their way to make everything make sense, which I appreciate a lot as a pedantic nerd. But yeah, so I wanted to shout out Kevin Kelly for that line, because it's a great line. Kenta worked Finley over and then, like, put him in a chin lock as he hit the 5-minute mark. There was some movement here from both guys. They didn't literally just sit in the chin lock like a lot of people do, so that was good. Finley countered with an awesome backdrop suplex and a very nice spinning uppercut off the ropes for a 2 count. Kenta came back with a nice diving clothesline for a 2 count of his own. He hit 2 DDTs, 1 draping on the middle rope for a close near fall as he got the 10-minute call. Kenta hit a really big double stomp, really right into Finley's guts for a 2 count. And Finley's selling was really good here, which is like the one thing, even when his offense wasn't very good, and I think he's made a lot of progress on that actually in the last like couple of years. You know, his offense has got, I mean, his selling was always really good, so that's really been his calling card, I think. Finley came back with a huge spear, speaking of his improved offense, but Kenta kicks out at 2. Finley followed up with the last shot, which is that spinning suplex over the knee, but that also just has a 2 count. I don't remember whose finisher that was. That's called the last shot. It was somebody's finisher. Kenta then sends Finley into the ref without them actually colliding and low blows him. Then he goes for the inside cradle, but unlike with Jeff Cobb, that was not enough for the pin here. Finley kicked out, which I like that as a near fall. And then Kenta picks Finley up and goes for the go to sleep. Finley landed on his feet and then like unloaded on Kenta with European uppercuts. Great fire here from Finley. He went for his acid drop thing. I think prima nocte is what he calls it. But Kenta lands on his feet, puts him out with a sleeper, hits a PK, and he picks him up and hits go to sleep. This time he hits it and gets the pin. Great finish, I thought. Just like very definitive, where he just like, you know, Finley guys come back and look good, but Kenta, you know, clearly finishes them off and is the better man. But yeah, I thought this was awesome. The highlight of the tournament for sure. I went 4 stars flat on it. You know, the best match we've seen on Strong so far. And if you're going to have an awesome main event, this is a great time to have it in the New Japan Cup USA final. I think this could have been even higher with a crowd, even like a clap crowd like we have in Japan right now. But as it is, I'm going 4 stars. I really enjoyed it.
I also really enjoyed it. And one thing I want to make note of, Finley looks so much better than he did just a year ago. Like, just being trimmed up a bit, and it looks like he's a bit more toned. He just looks a lot more like a star than he did, like I said, even a year ago. I don't know if that's just me, and I'm definitely a look guy.
No, I think he looks better. I agree. I think I pointed that out on week 1. So
yeah. So great minds think alike. I think shit cunt heel Kenta is the best Kenta.
Oh yeah, by a mile.
He is. I know everyone wants him to be like 2009 Kenta again, but man, I really enjoy this version of him.
2009 Kenta was pretty fucking heelish too.
Yeah, but he just feels more deliberate now. I kind of like the slower pace. I'm not saying he's like as great as he was then, but I'm just really enjoying this version of him. Where I don't know if I'm willing, like, I don't know if I'd want to trade this for that at this point. I've really enjoyed his work since he came back. On the note of Finley's improved offense, that Irish Curse backbreaker he hit, I think it was an Irish Curse, looked brutal on Kenta. And there's a lot of snap and viciousness to Kenta's offense these days, in general. That double foot stomp is something I would not take in front of no fans.
Yeah,
I wouldn't take it in general.
That was brutal. Yeah.
That looked like death. I was like, oh, they're ending this here. I did like the near fall, like you said, with the low blow. Overall, Finley had great fire the whole match. I did like how definitive it was. It wasn't a squash per se, because Finley did get offense, but it was like 70-30 Kenta, I would say.
Yeah, which is good. That's what it should have been.
Yeah, yeah. I went 4 flat. I thought it was really good. So
Yeah. I mean, I saw some people say they didn't think it was much, but I think, different people, different tastes. I don't know. Some people I think are just never going to like anything Empty Arena. And I get it because there's a ceiling on it for me too, but this was like as good of an Empty Arena match as you could probably have.
I thought this was really good as far as Empty Arena goes. And to be honest, the style they're working on Strong to me is conducive to Empty Arenas.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm on an island on that.
No, I agree because they work really fast and they work, they don't. They give you they're keeping the match time short, first of all, which is a big key for making this work. I mean, even this is like the longest match they had in the entire tournament. It was like still under 14 minutes. So
you don't have time to notice that there are no fans.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a lot better than like even the AEW stuff I was seeing, where even with like the manufactured crowd noise, I think the matches were just going too long where you kind of noticed eventually.
Well, I also hate the fake crowd noise. Like to me, that's way when AEW does it and WWE, it's like to me that's more distracting. But I don't know. Yeah. Like it just sounds so fucking fake that incessant hum basically.
It's too manufactured.
Yeah. But overall, I call this another good show. I mean, I've enjoyed all 3 weeks of it. So I mean, this is. I don't know. This is probably my favorite for best weekly show right now because I liked the DDT TV show too when they were Empty Arena, but I think I might like Strong slightly better. So, but yeah, this was a good show. Our first 4-star match, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do now with the Road to Fighting Spirit Unleashed that kicks off next Friday. So, definitely, I always watch it. Right at 10 o'clock on Friday. Definitely enjoying it a lot. So let's look ahead now at New Japan because they have a big week other than the Strong coming back on Friday, which we don't have a card for yet. So, but we do have cards for the Summer Struggle, 2 Korakuens on Wednesday and Thursday, and then of course the big show at Jingu, the outdoor Jingu Stadium show, which is of course where the Tokyo Yakult Swallows play. So that's one of the Nippon professional baseball teams. But yeah, it's their first show in Jingu since 1999, I believe. I know it went up on New Japan World recently, but it'll have a capacity limit of 5,000. I assume it's going to sell out. I think I saw that last time I checked. I think that all they had left was like special accessible tickets or something. So basically sold out.
What's the capacity they're allowing?
They're only 5,000.
Gotcha.
Because that's the max in Japan right now for anything. So, like, you just cannot do more than 5,000, even in an outdoor arena, apparently. But yeah, I'm just double checking what the seats say.
Was the last Jingu show the Onita Muda?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm just checking real quick what the ticket sales are like, because if there is something else left. It looks like all that's left is the stand seats. So I don't know. Maybe they won't sell out then, but I guess we'll find out. In the meantime, though, the show that kicks off on the 26th, that's the first Korakuen. That has, of course, the 4 KOPW 2020 first round matches that have people lighting their hair on fire. But I don't know. It doesn't. I'm not like. I feel like I'm in the middle on this. I'm not like fucking thrilled about it. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, this is the best thing New Japan's done in 10 years or something. Like I've seen some takes, but at the same time, it's a random Korakuen. I mean, I wasn't expecting. I don't know if people were expecting like everyone to nominate like cage and ladder and hardcore match, all this stuff. It's like, well, they went wacky with it, and they clearly told them to hold back on like some of the steps and not do anything too crazy since it's just a Korakuen. But, I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to get 4 singles matches on a Korakuen, which is pretty rare compared to, all these shows that have a lot of tags. And, one of them is guaranteed to be pretty good, I think. I think Sho and Sonata, where they both picked the submission match, which is really funny. Sonata just being like, I don't care. I just want to do that too. So Sonata kind of ruined the entire point of it right away. But, we're guaranteed a submission match. And that, I mean, I really doubt that's going to be anything but really good. I mean, I've liked all their exchanges leading up to this. Toru Yano and Bushi. I mean, people acted like fucking were ruining the sanctity of Toru Yano versus Bushi. It's like, that's always like what. It's like, come on. It's like, 2-count pinfalls or 5-count ring out. It's like, it's Toru Yano and Bushi. I mean, it was always gonna be a comedy match. It's not like it's the same thing where it's like, this is New Japan. Like, yes, New Japan does comedy. Toru Yano and Bushi. That would have been comedy with or without.
I watched Yano get counted out in an elevator. I'm just...
I mean, this is... I don't know. Like, people act like this is 1990s Rings or something. Like, this is... it's New Japan. They have comedy. I don't know what to tell you.
It's not my shtick. I usually fast-forward Yano matches. I am that guy. And I'm not... in general, I don't like this stip. And I am adding it to the case file for Tanahashi being the true ace over Okada. But I... 3 of the stips basically don't change the matches at all. One's a submission match, one is either a finishers match or a no finishers match, so basically it's a singles match.
Yeah.
And it's this Despi Kojima singles match. I'm not gonna
that's gonna be really good. I mean, I mean, whatever wins. I mean, finisher only. I think it means you can't end them. You can only end the match with a finisher. I think. From what I saw. I don't think it literally... people are taking it to mean you literally can only hit lariats or... whatever the fuck Desperado's finisher is called. I can't remember.
What are they going to do? Run it? What's Kojima just going to hit the ropes and sprint back and forth with the arm out for an hour? No, that's not how the match is going to go.
Yeah, it's just going to mean that you can only win with your finisher. And then Desperado's is even simpler. I mean, it just means you can't do your finisher. So, I don't know. I mean, that's going to be fine. I mean, I think that'll be really good. Yano and Bushi will be a comedy match no matter what. I hope 2-count pinfall wins because I think that'd be funny. But 5-count ring out could also have potential, so it doesn't really matter. Sho and Sonata is a submission match either way, and that, like I said, that could be really good. And Okada versus Yujiro. Okay. Okada versus Yujiro has fucking sucked every time they've done it, so I don't really care that it might either be a 1 versus 3 handicap match or a lumberjack with leather belt death match. Both those gimmicks sound pretty shitty, but the fucking ceiling here is not exactly very high anyway. I'm sorry, if you took away these stipulations, it's not like this is ruining a Matt Classic. It's Okada and Yujiro. It's going to be bad no matter what.
And it's Okada in front of few fans, which, as we've seen recently, isn't exactly... he's not exactly pulling a Masawa here.
Yeah, I don't know. So there's some of the takes I've seen on this. It's in general, but people's takes in New Japan this year, they've lost the plot. And it's
okay. I don't like it, right? I don't like this stip. I don't like the whole concept. But I'm also consistent. I didn't bitch about the multi-mans. I was fine with the multi-mans. What did you expect? It's a Korakuen. They've always had multi-mans. If you don't like the direction of the promotion, that's fine. But complaining about multi-man, they've had multi-man since the beginning of time. That's just that's what the promotion is.
Yeah.
Now, do I like these? No. Is it something different? Sure. And now that I've seen the stipulations and they're not that ridiculous, I'm still not thrilled. I'm a little less hostile than I was in the beginning, where I was kind of calling for Gato's head, but not literally, folks. Don't get too bent up. But I was not on a Hitman site, but I
do they have those Hitman sites?
I
you just
doubt
go online
it.
and be like,
can I dark buy web. Yeah, just type in, hey, listen, I need Gato took the belt off of Naito. I need him gone. No, but I think this is going to be fine. I probably will just pick my highlights. It's not like I was going to watch Okada Yujiro anyway. So whatever they decide to do, God bless.
Yeah, I don't know. People lost their minds with this, and I look. Some of these stipulations are very goofy. I really doubt whenever they start doing defenses and they only have to come up with 1 stipulation, or 2 stipulations for 1 match instead of 8 for 4 matches, that they're going to be this goofy. I think they'll probably be more like, ladder or cage or whatever, which is fine. I mean, it's 1 match on a fucking show. It really is not that big a deal. So this Korakuen's more interesting than it would have been. If you want your multi-man tags, it's on the very next night. I mean, what is the big deal?
Yeah, I will say this. I think it's part of the brain rot that Western fans have, and I always look for the signs of a promotion in decline because so much of wrestling history is based around promotions in decline, and so much of what is interesting about wrestling is when promotions hit their decline. You know, there's a lot of podcasts about like WCW and their decline, and can people pinpoint where it started to go downhill? And the answer is like 1989. But you know, people are always kind of pressed to look for the end or for like the beginning of the downward spiral. And I think when there's something that people have attached themselves to, like New Japan, they get really
that's
worried.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
And
so when they see the first time, they're like, "Oh God, now what's next?" And
I think people should take a few deep breaths and understand that pretty much nothing in wrestling is as good as it was before COVID. That's gonna happen when you have people that cannot fucking cheer and cannot make noise, which is such a big part of wrestling. And I mean, I just don't like New Japan is one of the only promotions I'm enjoying right now. You know, it's pretty much just like, I don't know, New Japan, DDT, and Stardom at this point. So like, I don't know. I just think people kind of got to calm down a little bit. I'm not saying this is like, clearly 2020 is not like fucking peak 2013 or 2015, but I think people have gone way overboard and like declaring at the end of the era or whatever. Like, wait until if crowds come back and it still feels weird, and like half the roster is able to come back and it still feels weird and off, then fine. Then you can start declaring at the beginning and the end or whatever. But I think people have lost their minds on this. And I kind of think people have lost their minds on New Japan since the day the Elite left. But as I've said before,
I agree. And I think it's people kind of have to come to grips with the fact that the roster isn't what it was in 2013 or 2014. I think it has, like, at the undercard has more depth, but I think at the top end of the card, they're experimenting and they're trying to figure out where they want people to be positioned going forward. Because
and obviously, like Naito and Tanahashi and Okada are all kind of banged up too. So.
And look how many people are like Goto is approaching his mid-40s.
Yeah, Goto's like done as a main eventer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be a dad soon. Tanahashi is going to be a dad probably within the next 3 to 4 years, which I'm not ready for. As the mainline Tanahashi stan, I'm not ready for that. But Tanahashi, Goto are all kind of moving down the card. Ishii is going to be moving down the card sooner rather than later. Honda, I mean, they have a lot of people that they're kind of cycling people into spots for. Naito and Ibushi aren't exactly spry chickens. I know Ibushi looks like he's 28, but he's 40.
Yeah.
Almost. He's 37.
Yeah, 37.
Yeah, but he's almost 40.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all older wrestlers, and they're going to have to eventually move people up the card at an accelerated pace. That just is what it is. And New Japan's probably going to look a lot different in the next 2 to 3 years. And, I'm not as, on board with the evil direction as I think you and some others are. But, like, man, they had to try something, and they have to try some things going forward, and we'll have to see where they end up.
And they have a lot of young wrestlers, too, so I'm not that... I really
they have a lot of young wrestlers.
Yeah.
And they're dead. They are loaded with young talent right now.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it.
The other 2 matches in the show are Tanahashi, because those are matches 3 through 6. And then we have match 2, which is Tanahashi, Ibushi, Tenzan, and Wato against Taichi, ZSJ, Kanemaru, and Doki. And your opener has Nagata, Tsuji, and Uemura against the new Never Six-Man champions Goto, Ishii, and Yoshihashi in a non-title match. Speaking of Goto, and Ishii being downcycled, they're not even on Jingu, which I know they wanted to keep that show shorter, but they don't even have a match on Jingu, which is interesting. The next night for Korakuen on Thursday is your more standard, hype night, but you have a big main event with Naito and Hiromu against Evil and Ishimori that should be pretty fun. You have Tanahashi, Ibushi, and Wato against Taichi, ZSJ, and Kanemaru. Shingo, Sanada, and Bushi against Suzuki, Desperado, and Doki. Okada, Yano, Sho against Yujiro, Gedo, and Jado. That should be awful. Kojima, Nagata, and Honma against Goto, Ishii, and Yoshihashi. Again, non-title. And we finally get another Tsuji versus Uemura singles match. It feels like it's been forever for them, but that's the opener.
Too long.
And then Jingu is on Saturday, which is a big show. Obviously, we'll cover this next week on Omakase. We'll also cover the Korakuens and Strong too. So, but yeah, the opener, the Master Derby, Master Wato versus Heel Master Yoshinobu Kanemaru. I am extremely excited for this match.
Me too.
I cannot wait for the Master Derby.
Yeah, I am an unapologetic Watto stan. I actually really like him in the multi-mans. I think his offense looks really good. I think he's coming into his own.
He had a really good singles match with Doki too, I think.
Yeah, I thought that match was really good. I think people got bent out of shape because the gimmick looks ridiculous, and it does. But I think people always do that. They look at the gimmick and they go, "Oh no, he's doomed," and they never actually play up to the gimmick. He'll probably have a dopey Wrestle Kingdom entrance once a year, and that'll be the extent of this gimmick having any kind of place in things. He's not gonna like come down with like a staff and come to the way of the. He's not gonna do that. That's not what they do with things. They don't hit you over the head with a brick, and I think people's brains are broken because they're used to Western wrestling. That's never what this was gonna be, and I'm happy that's not what it is. I think Watto has been really good. I think he has really good synergy with Tanahashi and Ibushi, and he's a good fall guy. Yeah, him and Tenzan have good synergy. Yeah, I mean, he's a good fall guy for those 8-man and 6-man tags.
Yeah. The only thing Watto's really bad at is promos, which is what he needs Tenzan for, I guess. Because Watto is like one of the worst promo guys in New Japan in a long time. Like he's really terrible at promos. But
which is probably part of why they gave him a gimmick where he wouldn't really need to talk.
Right, exactly. Match number. I think Watto's going to win. Do you think any differently?
I hope. Yeah, he'll win. I like Kanemaru. I really. I kind of want an offhand part of me wants to see him win because I really want a Hiromu Kanemaru match, but I know that's not going to happen. So
every time I see Kanemaru now, I can't. I don't know if you've seen this account on Twitter. It's like Peter Griffin Smark or Smark Peter Griffin, which is like
no.
Yeah, it's like Peter Griffin if he was a wrestling Smark, and he just has a tweet that's just like, "Holy crap, Lois! It's Kanemaru Yoshinobu." And I don't know. Every time I see Kanemaru now, I think about it. Match number 2, KOPW 2020 Finals 4-way match. I like that this does not have any other wacky gimmick. I like that Okada was like, well, 4-way match is a gimmick, so we'll just do it 4-way match. But yes, the 4 winners from earlier. I guess we should pick who we think they'll be, first of all. Okada versus Yujiro, obviously Okada, I think.
Yeah.
Sonata Show could go either way. I'm going to say Sonata. Do you disagree?
I think it's Sonata.
Yeah. Yano Bushi, again, could go either way. I kind of think they're going to want one junior to win, and Yano already beat him, so I think it'll be Bushi. Especially since it'll either be by a 2-count pin or a 5-count ring out. I mean, he could easily win either one of those.
See, I think Yano wins, and I think Despi wins.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I'm gonna go. Yeah, you're right, because I forgot about Despi and Kojima. Okay, so Yano wins, and then Desperado. Yeah, it's the 4th guy. That makes sense.
Yano will be the wacky change of pace for the 4-way.
Yeah.
Plus, if Sonata's winning, you can't have Bushi.
Now, I'm glad you said that, because I agree. Yeah. Sonata's winning this 4-way. Because I think he's finally going to get one up on his rival. But he's not going to pin Okada or whatever, but I think he'll win the 4-way, and then the first defense or whatever will be Sonata versus Okada, and Okada will probably beat him for it there.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think Sonata's going to win. But yeah, this is, I mean, I don't really like multi-way matches or like, multi-way singles matches, but this could be pretty good. I mean, it's also, again, where I think people are freaking out needlessly. It's match 2. It's like below the Never title. It's like it's not being presented as a top tier thing here. So,
yeah, I mean, like I said, I still don't like it myself, but it is what it is. And to be honest, anything that can keep Okada away from the world title, I'm okay with.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if this is a short term solution, and Naito's staring at the lights at the end of this, then Okada walks out like, "Hey guys, I might scream, but."
Yeah, I think Okada's staying away from the title for now, but I guess we'll see. I mean, he basically said so in Tokyo Sports. So,
yeah.
Match number 3 is for the never openweight title. Shingo Takagi making his attempted 4th defense against Minoru Suzuki. I mean, this is going to be awesome. I think their exchange last week during those one of those multi-man tags during the Korakuen, they had an awesome exchange. So I think this will be a really good match, and I think Shingo wins. I mean, Suzuki wouldn't shock me, but I think Shingo will retain.
Suzuki's another one, by the way, cycling down the card. But I really this match will either be really great or it'll disappoint. I think there is an offhand chance that Suzuki doesn't bump enough for a match with Shingo. There are a few moves Shingo likes to do that I struggle to, in my mind's eye, see Suzuki taking. Made in Japan being one of them. So I have some reservations about this, but these two are top end guys. I think it'll be great regardless. If all things go according to plan, but I do have some reservations and a little bit of worry. And I did kind of think that might be why they were alluding to making it a death match and adding a bit of a gimmick, because maybe they didn't expect the styles to mesh. But from the exchanges on the multi-mans, they've been really good, so I'm pretty optimistic at this point. A lot more optimistic than I was going in.
Match 4, Hiromu Takahashi making his attempted second defense against Taiji Ishimori. Look, this is one of those matches where I don't know what to expect, because they had my 2018 match of the year. I mean, that was a 5-star match, an amazing match, the Best of Super Junior final. I'm not expecting this to be that good, especially without the crowd being able to make noise and stuff, where the crowd really helped a lot in that match because they were so behind Hiromu, wanting him to win the Best of Super Junior. But I still think this will be really good. I'd be surprised if it was below 4. I just don't quite see it getting to that match of the year level. So,
do you think Ishimori's been a bit disappointing?
I think he's been about what he's always been. I never thought he was that great in Noah either. He's a very average junior, who a slightly above average junior heavyweight who Hiromu, had an amazing match with. But other than that, I mean, I never thought he was that level.
To me, when he peaks. He goes very high. But then there's the rest of his work, and he'll have 1 or 2 great matches a year where you're like, oh wow, Taiji Ishimori, he's really good. And then he has the rest of his matches, and you're like, oh yeah, Taiji Ishimori. And I'm hoping this is one of those great matches. I think this card could use it because it needs some sure things. But I could see this being one of Ishimori's yearly egg laying sessions, and I do worry about that a bit.
Do you think Ishimori wins? I think it's pretty likely. Especially since they have it out with Hiromu with that shoulder injury, so
they do have an out.
I mean, it depends. Do they want Hiromu to enter G1 as junior champion, or do they want Hiromu to lose the title so you think he has a better chance of winning?
Yeah, it's kind of a 50-50 with me. I am not one of the Hiromu for world champ people. I think Hiromu carrying the junior division is a good spot. I really like the junior division. It's my favorite division in New Japan, so I don't want to see Hiromu leave. And I certainly don't want to see him leave it to Taiji Ishimori. So it may be a bit selfish, and you could do
Ishimori Wato. I don't know. I mean, there's not much to this division right now, and I just don't.
There's really not. Yeah,
I don't really see where
Hiromu's the only.
Yeah, I just don't see where Hiromu goes from here. I guess if he retains.
Despy.
Oh yeah, I guess.
I would, or maybe do the Kanemaru thing. Have Kanemaru beat Wato. And, I don't know. Yeah, there isn't much for him to do at junior. Unfortunately, there's even less for Ishimori to do at junior. Yeah. This is kind of one. I'll be interested to see where this goes, and it'll definitely tip off what direction they're going with Hiromu.
The semifinal is the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles. Zack and Taichi making their attempted first defense against Ibushi and Tanahashi. Mm-hmm. This one I really have no idea about because
this could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think that whole story with Tanahashi they were telling is leading to him and Ibushi, overcoming the odds and winning finally. But it feels way too soon to end the Dangerous Techers' reign. I mean, they're such a great team that But this match either way should be awesome. I love their match at Dominion. Went 4.5 on it. So, I think this will be a great match. And I guess I lean Ibushi Tanahashi, but I would like to see Dangerous Techers retain.
This is another one of those matches that could go either way, and you'll get a lot of tip off in what directions they're going from here. I think there are probably more opponents for Techers actually, but I think in my, heart of hearts, I think Tanahashi and Ibushi are gonna lose, and I think they might be slowly starting the story where Tanahashi moves down the card. What I'd like to see is, maybe Ibushi eats the submission or the pinfall here, or maybe, Tanahashi gets... I don't know. I'm trying to make up in my head a way where Tanahashi stays at the top of the card, but I just feel like he's going to start falling down slowly but surely, and it makes me sad. I do have somebody kind of came up with a theory. I think it was I can't remember. It's that Tanahashi stan on Twitter, so this is probably fodder. But maybe Tanahashi turns heel on Ibushi because he doesn't like that he's falling out of the spotlight, or that he's trying to make Ibushi replace him. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful. I think they're going to do something interesting with this, though. I think I think the inevitable culmination of this is a match or some kind of feud between Tanahashi and Ibushi, and I would be surprised if they're both faces in that feud.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know. The other thing is, I don't know if it really matters who wins, because the next big thing for everybody will be G1 anyway. So,
right.
I think it'd just kind of be a belt they hold with them during the G1. So, the main event is for the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental double titles. Tetsuya Naito challenging Evil, trying to make his second defense here. So here's where I am on this. My brain tells me Naito's winning the belts back, and this Evil thing was another short reign to establish him, just like it was for Naito in 2016 or Jay White in 2019. Yeah, like these heels do not hold these titles very long. My gut feels like Evil's gonna win, but that could be having Naito like fucking PTSD with having Naito lose so many of these matches where I think he's gonna win.
There's a thing where victims of abuse go back to their abusers.
You took my mildly offensive metaphor and made it much more offensive. Thank you. But no, yes, Naito. I don't know. Like, it's just very. I don't really know with him. I mean, it's very like. I think he's gonna win. I mean, when he said that line to Evil, like rental time, my belts are over. That was great. And it made me think he is going to win, but like I'll never, like my Naito fandom is always like I'm always going to be scared he's going to lose. Which is funny. The one time I wasn't scared he was going to lose, he lost to Evil on the last time. So maybe that means he'll win. But yeah, I don't know. Let me try to think about this. I mean, I don't think Naito Evil is going to be the Dome. So whatever they're doing for the Dome, I don't think Evil will be involved. So I think if Naito does lose this, I think he wins it back after the G1. So I'm not like fucking, deathly frightened of whatever's going to happen here, but I definitely could see a scenario where Naito, loses again here, beats Evil in the G1 without winning the G1, and then beats Evil at whatever big show they decide to run in November. So. Yeah,
every time I see Naito in a match like this, I just feel like Gato's raising a belt at me. In my mind's eye, I think I kind of think Naito's looking at the lights. Well, I guess he's looking at the sky in this case, but I have a feeling Naito had his reign, and that's what we were owed. So I think he's going back to being Teflon Naito.
Yeah.
And he's going to be looking at the lights, and I think you can look forward to... Because the Dome this year, they're not going to give us a big main event at the Dome, because they're not going to have a Dome. Not like an actual Dome. I think expecting us to have a January 4th show with any kind of attendance is more than optimistic.
I think the Dome show is Naito Hiromu. I don't know. That's my guess right now.
We could have a Naito Hiromu match. Would you be shocked if it was Evil Okada?
No, but I don't think it will be.
I worry. But yeah, you'll have a good idea of where they're going after this. I don't know. It's hard to tell now because they're doing so many different things. I used to feel more confident in judging where they're going, but I can see this going either way. But right now, I'm leaning Evil.
Okay, Guess we'll find out. But I'm very excited for the show. I think the card looks really good. I like that it's a nice, tight 6 matches with no undercard tags, because people were complaining nonstop about all the undercard tags on, on the previous big shows, Sengoku, Lord and Dominion.
I still don't get that, man. What have they been watching for
I don't know. Dude, I don't know what to tell you. Suddenly the undercard tags are a big problem. But yeah, this is
always what they've been. This is what New Japan has been since the beginning of time. There was that little era in 2010 to 2013 where they front-loaded all their big pay-per-view shows, and you didn't have to watch the Road to shows. So all you saw was a bunch of singles match and top-tier title matches, and okay, that was fine. But this is what the promotion is, and this is what Japanese wrestling in general is. So getting bent out of shape about, there's too many multi-mans, they're boring multi-mans. You're not supposed to watch them all.
Yeah, I watch them all, but I'm a crazy person. So
yeah, I must say you're a crazy person. But, I'm like,
I don't watch the only time I don't watch them is during the tournaments, because then it's I just don't have time. I absolutely do skip them during G1s and stuff. But
that's an exercise in self-care.
Yeah.
Love yourself. But I don't get this new nitpicky thing with multi-mans and established Japanese trends in booking, or I don't know, man. It seems a little weird.
I don't know either. But there we go. That's New Japan. Like I said, next week we'll be back to review Jingu and also the other Korakuens and all that stuff. So, definitely tune in for that. Okay, so King of DDT, we're going to talk about the finals. As I mentioned much earlier, if you want to hear me talk about all the rest of the King of DDT tournament matches, it's on the Patreon at patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. Covered all 3 King of DDT previous shows with the first round, second round, and quarterfinals. So you can hear me talk all about the previous 3 rounds of King of DDT. Again, that's at patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. So, this is DDT Blackout Presents King of DDT Final earlier today, August 23rd at Korakuen. We'll start with the undermatch, a 5-way match with Kazuki Hirata defeating Toru Owashi, Antonio Honda, Tomomitsu Matsunaga, and Yukio Naya, when Hirata pinned Honda with the Miracle One-Shot Cradle in 5:33. This was obviously not really much of a match, but the big comedy spot was noted giant dork Yukio Naya. So basically, Kazuki Hirata, right, has these sunglasses that he puts on, and then he does his dance. I think most people who watch DDT would know that. He, he got interrupted by Naya, and Naya picked up the glasses like he was going to use them, but then he's like, no, I don't need these, and he throws them away. He breaks out his glow sticks, and he starts doing what's called wotage. I don't know how to pronounce it, but wotage dancing to a Hatsune Miku song. So this is basically it just means idol dancing, basically showing up at a concert to, God, what's the word I'm looking for? To support your favorite idols, which do not have to be real people. They can also be Vocaloids, as it was here. So that was awesome. I really enjoyed Yukio Naya. It's the most personality, first of all, he's ever shown, at a DDT show. So I hope they lean into this gimmick now and just have him just be like Oka, I guess, be the massive dork he apparently is. He loves all this geek stuff and anime stuff. So, it'd be nice to have him get more of a personality here. But yeah, it was just a match. Otherwise, just very, very quick. Not much to say about it.
This was just basically me trying to get adjusted to DDT, because when I do drop into DDT, I'm watching the top end stuff, right? I'm not really tuning into a lot of DDT undercards. So a lot of the beginning of this was just me kind of trying to figure out how everything goes and just trying to get a feel for the general vibe of the show. There wasn't really anything to this. I didn't find it in any way particularly funny. It was fine. This was not my favorite match of the night.
The opener on the show proper. Actually, before that, Chris Brooks came out and cut a short promo at the start of the show, talking about his upcoming Universal title defense against Drew Parker on September 7th, which is right back here at Korakuen, a show I'm sure we'll cover either here or on the Patreon. Brooks basically said that Drew is one of his best friends, possibly his very best friend in wrestling, but when he faces him, for the Universal title. He'll be facing him as a DDT wrestler against a Big Japan wrestler, since Drew Parker is from Big Japan. So that's a kind of cool little storyline. I like that. And they're going to main event a Korakuen with these two white guys, which is, always an interesting thing. Something DDT has done before. But I definitely think it'll be a fun little match. So
I feel like Chris Brooks fits in really well there. I'm pretty surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a million times better than I ever saw him in Brit Rez. So not that I ever liked Brit Rez or watched him that often. So, but I heard people always talk shit about him though, and it's like, I don't know. He's been great since he came over. So
yeah, I think it's weird. So I had a soft spot for Brit Rez until no comment. Because I liked a lot of the guys that came from there. I wasn't as low on Ospreay as you were. I liked Tyler Bate, and I liked David Starr. Bad judge of character, I guess. And I like those kinds of guys. Zach, all those. Brooks was always a guy where I was like, I think he's fine. I don't want him in New Japan, but he seems fine. He's so much better in DDT. He's just one of those guys, I think, who just found his niche. He when I saw him today, I was like, oh, he fits here. Like he fits the vibe of DDT, and I think I'm hopeful that he stays there. To be honest, I think this is the best place for him.
So the main card opener is your first King of DDT 2020 semifinal. Tetsuya Endo defeating Kazusada Higuchi by referee stoppage with the modified Yuri Kimomori hold in 10-19. A bit of a stunner right away here. I really thought Higuchi was winning this entire tournament, but it was not to be. So Higuchi ran over Endo with a lariat right as the bell rang. Great little opening here. And then he hits
I love that.
Yeah, it's always a great start to a match. Then he hits a Northern Lights bomb, just really not wasting any time at all. But then they ended up on the floor where Endo tried a dive, but Higuchi, he tried to catch him around the neck, but I think Endo was supposed to land on his feet, but he just kind of fell. So that didn't really work out. But then everything after that was good. He tried to choke slam him. Endo ended up on the apron, but Higuchi caught him into an electric chair position and then dropped him face first onto the apron. It looked a little awkward at times, but definitely worked out by the end. Higuchi then worked over Endo back in the ring, a little too slowly for my liking, honestly, and there was a rest hold that goes on a bit too long for a 10-minute match. And then, I don't know, everything in the first 5 minutes to me just looked a step or two slow from these two guys, which was a little surprising to me. Like, they usually are really great and have great chemistry, but, I don't know if they were out partying late last night in Shinjuku, and, this was an 11:30 a.m. start in Japan, so I don't know if they just weren't really awake yet or what, but it wasn't good for me early on. But then it started getting really good right around the big strike exchange as the bigger Higuchi, absorbed Endo's blows and then really, laid into him with these chops and these two huge running lariats in the corner. Finally woke them up, I guess. And then Higuchi hit a huge choke slam for a 2 count. Endo eventually got Higuchi in his modified Yuri Kimomori, and Higuchi struggled in it for quite a while before the referee just stopped it. Like I said, kind of stunned at that, but there you go. Higuchi's out in the semifinals. He'll just retire before he ever wins the KOD title, I guess. Pretty good, but a bit disappointing. I would go 3 1/4. They definitely have better matches, way better matches. It did pick up after the earlier part that was just a tad slow and off, but, can't really go higher than that.
I thought it was okay. I think I went 3 1/4 as well. I liked the opening with Higuchi. I hadn't seen Higuchi before. He was pretty good. I've seen a little bit of Endo. This wasn't his best showing as far as I'm aware. There wasn't much to say about it. It went pretty short. I really liked the finish. That's about all I have to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, looking at Grapple, it seems like, there's a ton of ratings on there, but it seems like people are much higher than either one of us. It had a 3.7 average, so it's interesting. People also higher in the next match than I was. The second semifinal, T-Hawk versus Akito. T-Hawk defeats Akito with the Night Ride in 11-19. So this one I get why people might have it higher, and I'll go through it as I get there. So it starts out fast, just like the last match, with Akito trying to dropkick T-Hawk's knee. But T-Hawk comes back and takes over pretty quick. Akito starts targeting T-Hawk's leg, including with some very vicious dragon screws where T-Hawk hung up in the corner. And he even does one on both legs at once, which is really cool. Here's where T-Hawk loses me, though. and where the match loses some points for me. He starts running very fast on his supposedly bad legs right after they were destroyed. And then, after he finishes running, he falls down clutching them again like he was just shot by a sniper. Not good selling. Not good selling at all from T-Hawk. I mean, you need to limp a little bit when you're running, or just run a little bit slower than usual. Like, selling should not be, I'm running as fast as I can, and now I'm going to fucking fall down and clutch my legs like I was just shot. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's not good selling. So I had to take points off for that. It just wasn't good. But after that, Akito interrupts a flurry of offense by T-Hawk by rolling into an ankle lock. A great counter. Looked so natural. When T-Hawk is about to escape, Akito hit a whole sequence of leg attacks in a row that looked great. Just did all these knee crushers and stuff. And then he got a second takedown back into the ankle hold. He tried to transition into his bird eater, whatever he calls that finisher. But T-Hawk fought him off before he could lock it in. T-Hawk fought him off again with a hard right hand when he tried to get it locked in again, then hit his own big spitting suplex thing that he likes to do. And then Akito countered the pin attempt after that, though, into 3 straight pin attempts, almost like T-Hawk's leg did kind of bother him there and let him do that counter, which was good psychology. But yeah, the third pinfall was a really close near fall, super, super close. That was a great little near fall there. So he runs into T-Hawk again and eats the night ride for the pin. This is a hard one to rate because I loved a lot of the action, especially from Akito. But T-Hawk's leg selling was just dog shit. I mean, I'm going to go 3.5. It could have been 4 easily if T-Hawk had limped a little instead of running around at full speed. But what can you do? I still enjoyed it. That's what I mean, nothing's perfect, I guess. But that's where I'm at, 3.5.
So I'm not the high man on T-Hawk. I know everyone has made him out to be the new future, big name in Japan. I don't know. To me, some of his offense comes across as lazy. He just flat out whiffed on a few of his knee strikes, and he does the float over into the knee, and he just outright missed. There were a few of the striking spots that just didn't look that great to me. The selling was pretty atrocious. Yeah, and that specific spot you mentioned. Match was fine. I was actually more impressed with the other guy who I hadn't seen before. Oh, yeah. Oh, so what's the guy's name that T-Hawk was wrestling in this match?
Akito. He's awesome.
Akito, yeah. I hadn't seen him before because I don't tune into DDT a lot. He looked really good. I think I saw him in the semifinal, but other than that, he looked really good. I liked him a lot more than T-Hawk actually in this match, and that was not what I was expecting going in. But I thought I just thought he looked a lot better than T-Hawk. I went 3.5 as well. It wasn't anything too great, and I actually thought T-Hawk was the one that dragged the match down in this instance.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Akito is awesome, and he was really good here. Match number 3, Dansho Kudino and Seigo Tachibana defeating Yukio Sakaguchi and Saki Akai when Dino pinned Sakaguchi with the Gay-Do clutch. Haha. But yes, per DDT English DDT English update at DDT Pro _ENG. Always have to plug them because they always do a great job. Before the match, Dino tells Seigo that he knows Yukio's weakness because he's wrestled him a million times, and he whispers it to him before the match. This turns out to be both of them coming out wearing pantyhoses around their heads, which the comedy worked for me here because, first of all, when they meant it was Yukio's weakness, apparently what they meant was Yukio finds the concept of people wearing pantyhose on their heads so fucking funny that he cannot do anything but laugh, which was really funny. Just watching, and he really did corpse during this, so I don't think that was acting. I think he really does find it hilarious. But meanwhile, Saki Akai, his partner, just keeps the exact same completely stone face, completely blank look on her face that she pretty much always has, which that's great comedy. I don't know. Her just looking at them completely blank, completely stone face, doesn't care at all that they're wearing this pantyhose on their heads, while her partner is just cracking up, is really funny. As the match started, Saki and Tachibana were kneeling in each other's faces and trash talking each other, which I thought was kind of funny too. But yeah, then Dino and Seigo tied their pantyhose together and hit a clothesline of sorts with it on Sakaguchi, a much more literal clothesline, as I think the DT English guys said, and they choked him out with the two pantyhose tied together. Yukio, though, low-bridged them when they charged the ropes, so Seigo went to the floor and choked his own partner Dino with the tied pantyhose, and then he basically, Yukio unmasked them both, started kicking Dino's ass, but Dino came back with his dragon screw in the nuts, kissed Matsui by accident to which ended up, putting him out. But yeah, then Seigo puts the pantyhose over the unconscious ref Matsui, which wasn't clear to me why they were doing that first, while Saki and Yukio were killing Dino with double team moves and kicks. But that turns out to be so Yukio was laughing so hard at Matsui with the pantyhose on his head as he crawls over to count. They lets go of the cover, and Dino rolls him up in a Gato clutch for the win, and pointing at his head like he outsmarted him. This was actually really funny. I thought this was a great comedy match.
Yeah, I didn't have the context going in.
I don't think you need. What context do you need? I thought it was they weren't pantyhose on their head. I don't know. What's the?
Yeah. It was. I don't know. It wasn't my gig, but it was fine. Yeah. This was. I actually liked the first match better than I liked this one.
Okay. Match number 4, Harashima, Yuki Ueno, Naomi Yoshimura, Chris Brooks, and Minoru Tanaka, defeating Daisuke Sasaki, Soma Takao, Mad Paulie, El Lindaman, and Nobuhiro Shimatani. Harashima pinned Shimatani with the Somato and 12:47. This was billed as the King of DDT 2020 special 10-man tag, because they're all participants. This was a lot of fun. They beat up Yuki Ueno forever. Then Brooks came in and made a really high energy comeback, including a great German suplex on Soma, and then he leaped the top rope to hit a huge double arm superplex on Sasaki as soon as he tagged in. That was great. Tanaka and Sasaki had a really great exchange as well, and we really want to see a singles match with the two of them. And then Tanaka and Harashima then double team poor Shibatani and nearly killed him. We got a big wild sequence where everybody doing dives, and Harashima finally finished Shimatani off with the Somato. I thought this was match of the night. Up to this point, I went 3.5. Definitely a good match.
Yeah, that's about where I went. Man, Tanaka does not age, does he? He's still really good, and he he's not still just good in ring. He actually looks really good. He's 47? He has to be at least.
Yeah, he's 40. I think he's exactly 47. Yeah.
Jeez, yeah, he looks really good in this. I thought the double team sequences between him and I believe it was Hiroshima were really good. So I found my new hero in this match, Daisuke Sasaki. I had not seen him before until this match, and I don't know who he hit, but somebody hit the ropes and he just smacked them in the back with a sign.
Yeah, he hit him with Shimatani's sign.
And it was the funniest spot of the night to me. I cackled. I don't know why. In any other context, it wouldn't have been. But this just grumpy bastard smacking this guy in the back was, for whatever reason, just what I needed in that specific moment. So yeah, that was the spot of the match for me. I also went 3.5. So.
Match number 5, the semifinal, Konosuke Takeshita, Shuma Katsumata, Shinya Aoki, and Keigo Nakamura, defeating the Junretsu team of Jun Akiyama, Makoto Oishi, Mizuki Watase, and Hideki Okatani. Takeshita pinned Oishi with the German suplex in 14:55. So Shinya and Keigo were wearing OK Boomer t-shirts, which I thought was pretty funny. That's to set up because they're going to face... I actually don't remember who exactly is going to face who. But yeah, Jun Akiyama and the big boss Shinshiro Takagi are going to team up as the Boomer tag team. I mean, that's basically what they're calling them. So yeah, so they have these OK Boomer t-shirts. It's really funny. We get a big Akiyama and Takeshita showdown with both guys trading blows and neither backing down before Takeshita uses his partners to get an advantage. There's somebody in the Voice Wrestling Slack who pointed this out. I should need to figure out who it was so I can give them proper credit. But yeah, basically, remember when Akiyama first went over to DDT? I think Joe Lanza's exact quote on the Voice Wrestling flagship was, Jun Akiyama's not going there to wrestle Takeshita or anything. And his first shoot is for Takeshita, which is really funny.
Was that Liam? I
think it might have been Liam, yeah.
I think it was Liam.
So there you go. But shout out to Liam, who I don't know listens. I don't know if he listens or not, but yes. So I just thought that was really funny. That yes, Joe has to take an L on that one because they are doing an Akiyama Takashita showdown.
Akiyama is on the retirement tour, Joe.
But yes,
sorry to disappoint.
Akiyama and Takashita will probably be a match for Ultimate Party at this rate, I think. So they've been feuding pretty much since Akiyama came in. But yeah, their whole showdown here was awesome. Like both guys trading blows and neither backing down, and then Takashita had to use his partners to finally get an advantage. Things broke down even more to like a big fight all over ringside. We got another great strike exchange with Watase, trying to stand up to Takashita, and he actually managed to come out on top of it thanks to a nice jumping enziguri. I say it like every time we talk to DDT, but Watase, he looks so much better since he joined Jimretsu, and presumably is getting advice from Akiyama, behind the scenes as well, and he just looks like, I don't know, he looks the best he has in years. We get the straps down, Keiko Nakamura just screaming his ass off as he hits those kicks before we get the finish with Takashita pinning Makoto. This was a good match. I went 3 1/4. Lots of fun action. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's nice to see Akiyama still hanging in there, and I'm glad that he's not forced to work carnival shows against his wishes anymore. It was a weird mix of people for me. I thought some of them were really good. Your Takashitas, Akiyamas of the world, I thought were really good. There were a few, and I don't know their names, but there were a few people in the match I didn't think were good at all. More like a couple. One guy was wearing blue. The guy that got pinned I didn't think was very good, Oishi.
Well, Oishi's awesome. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe he wasn't here, but he's usually really good.
Yeah. I mean, he might be normally. Just for whatever reason, this match didn't click with me. I was glad Takashita got the pin because he really impressed me in the match. He looked really good. And that was about my take on it. I went 3 1/4.
The main event, the King of DDT 2020 final, Tetsuya Endo defeating T-Hawk with the Shooting Star Press in 2024. This started with T-Hawk beating Endo down early. Endo made a comeback, including a nice springboard diving elbow. And then there was a big exchange of like both guys no-selling and hitting a million moves in a row. That was honestly a little sloppy, but still pretty good. I mean, I would have liked to see a little more contact on Endo's lariat, for instance, during that sequence. But T-Hawk made up for it by like killing him with a running knee attack, like really destroying him. It led up to a double knockout tease after that. There was a great moment where T-Hawk just like chopped Endo off the top rope, and Endo sold it really well too. But then we got a big botch, unfortunately, where Endo was trying to do a Rana. Basically he did like a springboard where he was trying to end up in a Rana position on T-Hawk's shoulders, where T-Hawk was going to catch him and like tease a powerbomb, but Endo kind of just fell to the apron. So I mean that kind of sucked. I mean, you have to take points off for that. They basically repeat the spot too, which I never like when there's a botch, as T-Hawk like puts Endo back on the top rope, and they end up doing the Rana after all. After Endo countered him with a sleeper. It's not like unforgivable, but it did look pretty stupid overall. Luckily, they go right into a fast big move sequence right after that, so we have plenty of time to forget about it. T-Hawk hits the BT bomb for a 2 count, and then goes for the Night Ride and hits it, but Endo manages to kick out, so he got to kick out of a big move there. Endo came back with a Canadian Destroyer that T-Hawk no-sold. Endo then hit a big enziguri, and then went for his new finisher, the Animal Crossing New Horizons, which I can't believe is what it's really called, but that's what the English update account says. So, which is like a Made in Japan-esque driver, which the announcer even compared it to that, Made in Japan. Yeah. T-Hawk kicked out, though, so much for that new finisher, I guess. Right. But Endo then hit the Shooting Star Press off the top before the pin. So I'm torn here. I really loved a lot of the match. Great high-energy match, a lot of good action. But you have to take it down a notch or two for that big botch we talked about. So I'm going to go 3 3/4. I don't think I can quite go 4, but it was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I was on my way to probably a 4 1/4 star match before that botch. I was really enjoying pretty much the majority of the match. Endo in general really impresses me, and I actually, when I looked at that botch, I actually can't tell who was responsible for that, to be honest.
I don't know either. I think it was Endo. I think he leapt too high or something. But... Yeah,
I think he must. I feel like I don't know. I couldn't tell because it also looked like T-Hawk was really awkward and I don't know. It just looked weird. I thought T-Hawk kind of salvaged it and made it look like he did something when he looked like he somewhat power bombed him down, or like he kind of threw him down ish. It looked like. So I thought they kind of made it look okay, but going back to the spot made it more obvious they had just botched it. I think if they would have just switched to something else and then went back to the spot, like even if they would have just done like a quick hit the ropes, drop down, stupid sequence, and then went back to it, it would have helped kind of deflect from what had just happened. I think it made it seem a bit more organic, but that's nitpicking, and they're the ones paid to do it. I went 3 3/4. I think the right guy won. I think Endo is probably the star DDT should be getting behind, even though I don't think this was his best night.
Yeah, great.
I think, if I was going for showings to, show people.
Oh yeah, there's a million better Endo matches you could pick.
Yeah, so, I mean, Endo has some fantastic showings in the past. I think he brings something really unique to the DDT presentation. I mean, he's why I was watching. I watched the tournament specifically because I was curious about Endo because I'd heard so much about him. And there were a few other names in there that I was interested in, but mostly I was watching to see Endo.
Yeah,
and he is very good. This was not his best. I don't think T-Hawk fits very well in DDT.
Really, I think T-Hawk's good. I'm not as down on him as you are. I think he's, he didn't have the best night here, but I think he had a really good match against somebody during the actual King of DDT tournament. I'm trying to remember who the fuck it was now. I think. Maybe I'll just look it up. But you can keep talking. What about it? What do you think about it?
I don't know. He didn't feel like he was in the right place there, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not as huge on T-Hawk as a lot of people. I think a lot of the Dragon Gate guys are hit or miss with me.
Yeah.
Like I love Shingo, but and I usually like Shiva, but T-Hawk has been kind of. I'm just not on the bandwagon, and I didn't think he fits well with DDT. I think there are places I've seen him where he fit better. Was it? I think I watched him in a title match in Wrestle 1. Maybe I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, that's. I'm sure that's probably right. I mean, he was Wrestle 1 champion.
Yeah, so I saw him. I think it was Wrestle 1 title match, and he looked a lot better. I was like, oh, okay, this must be what people see. But I didn't like him as much in this tournament. Of course, that's partly a matter of expectations, but yeah. So that's about where
the match I was thinking about was T-Hawk and Hirota, because Serious Hirota is awesome, and they had a really great first round match. But yeah,
that was actually pretty good.
But there you go. That's the DDT Korakuen. Overall, I would say a good show, not a great show. Definitely been much better DDT Korakuens. I would say a little disappointing given the semis and finals we had, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I mean, it's very rarely a bad time, but definitely not my favorite Korakuen ever or anything.
Yeah, it was nice that it was streamlined. It wasn't a bad kind of introduction to a full card of DDT.
Yeah.
I expected that I would hate the entire undercard and I would like the tournament matches, and what I found was I hated like 2 of the undercard matches, and I actually liked 2 of the undercard matches, and I liked the tournament matches. So basically, it was like a New Japan card.
Yeah. Where
I usually hate 2 of the undercard matches, like 2 of the undercard matches, and then top 2 matches.
So the big thing in the post match, by the way, was Imabayashi congratulating Endo. Endo gets to pick his challenger for Ultimate Party on November 3rd at Ota Ward now. Endo did nominate Kenny Omega. The gamer. But he said, given COVID, bringing him in might be difficult. They'll negotiate, but he tells Endo to please have a backup plan in mind. Endo basically said that he knows the chances are slim, but he still wanted to nominate Kenny. If it doesn't work out, Endo does say he'll have a surprise in mind. And then we get the last little thing is, telling Sasaki that this time about the 1 million yen prize, unlike in other years, they have to split it evenly, and Nobu does not get a cut because he was in T-Hawk's corner. So there you go. But yeah, good show. So
what do you think of the gamer coming to DDT?
I don't think he'll be on the show. I do not think he'll make it, but.
Do you think they're going to run that eventually?
Yeah, 2021. I think it's going to build for 2021, but I guess we'll see. The other big announcement, by the way, we forgot to mention for Ultimate Party is Hirashima and Marufuji against Shima and Soma Takao. I would not get too excited for that because Marufuji has a long record of laying a lot of eggs in DDT, but there you go.
Yeah.
The next big DDT show is coming up in only a couple weeks. Maybe it's like 3 weeks, actually. It's September 7th, so... only 2 weeks from today. So that will be September 7th, Korakuen Hall, DDT Get Alive 2020. It's actually a Monday, I'm sorry, so like 2 weeks from tomorrow. We have 3 matches announced so far. Team Big Boomers versus All Out. Jun Akiyama and Shinshiro Takagi against Konosuke Takeshita and Shuma Katsumata. The KOD 6-man tag team titles, Higuchi, Sakaguchi, and Saki Akai. Eruption. Defending the titles against Danshoku Dino, Seigo Tachibana, and Yoshiko. Which, that will be a lot of comedy, I'm sure, but could still... Yoshiko's in there to carry the work rate, I guess, so could still be good. And the main event, a DDT Universal title no DQ match. I forgot there was no DQ. We talked about it earlier. Chris Brooks against Drew Parker. So, should be a cool little show.
That would probably be pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. So, let me see here. I got a couple questions. I did a little ask for questions very last minute, so... let's see. First of all, from the Voice of Wrestling Discord, Mark says, is the KOPW stipulations and whole idea as goofy and bad as everyone makes it out to be, or is a victim of people not enjoying COVID-era New Japan and Evil and Dick Turgo? I suspect you and I would disagree on this. I think it's the latter. I think people are making a much bigger deal of this than it is because they don't like COVID-era New Japan. So...
actually, I kind of agree. I don't know. Like, I don't like it, but you know, a lot of it is I don't like COVID era New Japan, and I think it's a compounding thing. And like I said earlier, I think Western wrestling fans have brain rot because they're always looking for their promotion's inevitable downfall because that's how Western promotions go. So I think there's just a thing where everyone's projecting more onto this than there probably is. It's probably just a wacky idea Okada had while on some kind of painkiller, and and you know, if it hits off with the fans, maybe you'll see it a couple times. I don't think this is a long-term thing. I really don't. I don't think this will stick when there are crowds. Gato can't book a tag division. I don't think he's booking this.
Yeah. The other question was from the Super J-Cast Discord. Velke Braca said, will Kenneth lay down for Endo if he gets in the country for Ultimate Party? If Kenny comes, he's winning. I hate to tell people. I mean, I think Kenny will beat Endo and then they'll do Kenny Takeshita, but I could be wrong on that. That's just my read on it.
Just they walk up to Kenny, do the job for no. That doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah,
Unfortunate. I don't know. I actually think the
has he even lost that fucking AAA title that he won? I don't think he has yet.
Good question. You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, I don't know.
My takes on Kenny title reigns apparently aren't popular in the Slack. So
they're popular with me, buddy.
The Gender Mahal of New Japan title reigns. But yeah, I don't know. I think if I were DDT, I wouldn't even do the match if they couldn't have Endo beat him.
Yeah.
I really think if I'm DDT, and I'm not, so this is useless, but I would have the Rocket on Endo, and I would have Kenny's whole purpose there being to put over Endo. I don't think there's a point in the gamer coming in and, you know, hitting him with a one-winged angel and waxing poetic about it for 30 years on Twitter.
It's all he ever talks about is his old Japan matches.
Yeah,
it's like, buddy,
you're talks about AEW. He's like, yeah.
You're on cable television every week in America, and all he ever does is like, oh, remember when I faced Tetsuya Naito in the G1? It's like, buddy, is anything you're doing now maybe inspire you to tweet about it? Or it's like, okay.
But enough about that, John. Remember when I wrestled Okada with a broken ankle and my spine was fractured? And I broke my back. And it was, I mean, apparently this man was a quadriplegic wrestling 40-minute classics in New Japan. I have a bit of a difficult time believing that. But, like, hey, maybe he did it. And maybe he should go to some medical professionals and talk to them about his secrets. Because, man, he apparently had a laundry list of injuries the entire time he was in Japan. And he still loved it somehow. I have to figure I'd be miserable at that point, but who knows?
Well, what are you going to do? All right, let's wrap this up, Jeff. Give me your plugs.
Right. My Twitter is... give you your plugs first, actually.
It's at Ika_LIJ. Do you not know your own Twitter?
No, well, I changed it.
Oh, really?
It's at Jeff_Andrews21.
Okay. It's good to know.
That's what it is now.
I definitely was going to put the other one without checking in the description, so I'm glad you brought it up.
There you go. Yeah, no, I changed it to Jeff_Andrews21. I don't post much, and my content is eclectic, so there's that. But I will be posting some articles on VOW soon, including a preview for Jingu.
Yeah, we're both on that. We got to do that.
Yeah, we should probably get on that.
Yeah, I guess we will this week. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you as always for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Wrestle Omakase, Wrestling Would Not Fit. Don't forget about the Patreon, patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. All your bonus audio content, $5 a month. Definitely check it out. Next week, it'll be me and my buddy Quinlan returning to the show, because I'm going into his house to watch Jingu. So we'll talk about Jingu. We'll talk about the other New Japan stuff from the week, the 2 Korakuens, and probably New Japan Strong as well. So that'll be next week. I don't think we're going to be talking about anything else. So I was going to do Stardom, but Stardom got canceled. So we really can't do much with that, unfortunately. But yeah, so we'll be back next weekend to talk Jingu and all the other New Japan stuff from the week. In the meantime, thank you as always for listening, and we'll see you next time.